In the long history of baseball, the October meetings between the two leagues have led to some of the most intriguing matchups in the history of the game. League, led by the Yankees' 23 world titles, leads in World Series play, but tonight's opponents, the Marlins, have yet to see an American League team. But led by Kevin Brown and a host of new stars, they look to see the American League again in October. And the Marlins now have a new leader. This time it's for real, even if it's not October. Yankees, Marlins next.
Live from the WB11, this is New York Yankees baseball.
From Pro Player Stadium in Miami, Florida, WB11 Sports proudly presents New York Yankees baseball. Tonight, the Bombers play the first ever interleague game in Yankee history. And the starting pitchers for tonight's game are David Cone for the Yankees and Al Leiter for the Marlins. Hello, everybody. I'm Bobby Mercer along with Jim Cobb. Welcome to New York Yankees baseball here on WB11. Well, it's interleague play for the first time in the history. What do you think about interleague play, Jimmy?
I'm excited about it, Bob. You know, I wish years ago American League fans could have seen Hank Aaron and Willie Mays. National League fans could have seen Mickey Mantle. It's entertainment value, and I think fans are excited about it, and I am too.
I agree with you. If it's for the fans, I'm for it. Well, let's talk about the Marlins now. They spent a whole lot of money, about $90 million. It looks like some of those dividends are paying off now.
Well, they started years ago to build their farm system up till they got to the point where they thought they could win, and that's this year. They signed Bobby Bonilla. He only has 4 home runs, but he's got 21 doubles. He started to produce runs. They got Moises Alou from Montreal, hitting behind Gary Sheffield in the order. He leads the team in RBIs. And here's Gary Sheffield. You don't get to see him swing the bat very often because he walks so much. But when he does, he's one of the best hitters in the league.
A lot of money spent here for the Marlins, and you can see the spending spree. Alex Fernandez also joins this pitching crew, anchored by Kevin Brown along with Lou. And you mentioned Eisenreich, too. He is one of the professional hitters in all of baseball. Well, we talked about the offense. How about pitching? Well, Al Leiter goes for the Marlins tonight. You know Al Leiter. He's a former Yankee. Signed with the Yankees. Finally ended up in the National League. What are we going to see from Al?
Sure was. Al Leiter signed with the Yankees back in 1984. Al Leiter, who pitched a no-hitter last year and won 16 games for the Marlins. We're going to see a lot of breaking balls and a lot of pitches inside to this right-handed hitting Yankee lineup.
Nothing new for Al Leiter. He's been in the American League. He'll be facing the Yankees tonight. Stay with us. First time in the history of baseball. Yankees and the Marlins coming up right after this. Is throwing out the first pitch here at Pro Player Stadium for the first ever interleague game between the Yankees and the Marlins. And a hearty welcome for the greatest living baseball player in the history of baseball, Joe DiMaggio.
Quite a moment here in Florida, Bobby. We talked about the first ever interleague game. Ironic, it'll be a former Yankee that's going to pitch against the Yankees tonight. Al Leiter mentioned he was a second-round draft choice back in 1984. Actually won his first big league game as a Yankee. Spent a little time on the disabled list earlier this year, and I don't know how much you've seen him pitch in the past. As you see his season numbers, averages about 5 innings, 5 2/3 a start.
Well, let's take a look at the McDonald's lineup. It's the Yankee lineup. Jeter, Curtis. That's Chad Curtis in the lineup tonight. He was traded for the other day. Williams, Fielder, Hayes, Whitten, Soho, Girardi, and then David Cone here in the National League ballpark will be batting for the first time in a long time for David Cone.
That looks weird.
And we are about ready as Jeter steps in. And the first pitch in interleague play between the Yankees and the Marlins, a breaking ball on the outside corner for a called strike to Jeter. I thought maybe they would take that first pitch and maybe take it out of play for baseball history, but they didn't do it. And the second pitch of the fastball looked like a little cutter, though, inside. Now it's 0-2 to Jeter.
Al Leiter will throw a lot of pitches down and in. And one thing the Yankee hitters will have to adjust to early on, Frank Pulley, the home plate umpire, one of the best pitchers umpires there is in the National League.
That pitch in the dirt and stopped nicely by Charles Johnson.
I think you mentioned taking the ball out of play. I don't know if they did that last night with the Giants and the Rangers or not. That was the first official interleague game when Darrell Hamilton hit against Darren Oliver.
That nicked him. Pulley says that got a piece of Jeter. So Leiter trying to get up and in, got up and in a little bit too much. And so the Yankees with the first batter on. By hit pitch, let's take another look at it.
Yeah, Al Leiter is a one-zone pitcher. I mean, that pitch he tries to get up and in to Derek, and he catches his jersey. And by one zone, I mean he will consistently throw that ball inside to all the right-hand hitters. If there's any lefties in there, he'll go outside. So he lives on that portion of the plate.
Well, he's learned that you need to establish that hard stuff inside to make the other pitches work. This is Chad Curtis batting for the first time for the New York Yankees, and strike one to Curtis. A few days ago, Curtis was traded to the Yankees, and the Yankees gave up David Weathers. So Curtis coming over from Cleveland, and Joe Torre wastes no time and puts him in the lineup.
Well, if he can recapture some of the skills he had with the Tigers a couple of years ago, he'll be a welcome addition.
Chop foul off to the left side. You talked about that year with the Tigers, probably his best year when he hit 20 home runs and stole 20 bases. So he's got speed and he's also got power.
And when you look at Chad Curtis's biography, the one thing you like about him, this guy was a 45th round draft pick with the Angels. There wasn't a lot of scouts that thought he had much of a chance. And yet he's battled his way to the big leagues, and he's been a productive player up here.
Outside for a ball. So it's 1 ball, 2 strike count. Nobody out. Second man up here in the top of the first inning. New York Yankees and the Florida Marlins. And the Yankees with a 36-27 record. 7 games now back of Baltimore. Did he go around? Yes, he did. He could not check it. Good breaking ball from Leiter. First strikeout.
No surprise. Let's see where it is. Down and in. And with 16 wins last year and one of the toughest pitchers to hit, it's because of pitches like that. How about this nice ovation for Bernie Williams?
Well, they read the papers.
Yeah.
They saw that what Bernie did in the championship series. And Bernie steps in, 1 man out, 1 man on. Bernie batting .320 and pops it up down the right field line. Coming on is Sheffield. Going over is Castillo, and it's in between Castillo and Sheffield.
While they're getting back to position, Bobby, let's take a look at the Marlins in the field, brought to you by Oldsmobile. Jim Eisenreich, former American leaguer, he's in left, and Moises Alou in center, and Gary Sheffield in right. Bobby Bonilla at third. A last-minute change. Alex Arias is the shortstop in place of Edgar Renteria. Then the 21-year-old Luis Castillo at second, Jeff Conine at first. And catching Al Leiter is Charles Johnson. Maybe the best behind the plate in the National League. 2 straight Gold Glove awards. A native Floridian right up the road here from Fort Pierce.
Well, to be that young and have already won a couple of Gold Gloves, Leiter's not really paying a whole lot of attention to Jeter. He's got good speed at first base. With Leiter and Jeter knowing that Johnson has that gun for an arm, probably is going to keep him pretty close.
You notice the unusual position by Conine, and he's got great quickness over there, so he can play off the bag.
Oh, the good slider, hard slider in. 0-2 now on Bernie.
Same zone, nothing new. Down and in. And he pitched against the Yankees like this when he was with Toronto.
Leiter was, when he was with the Yankees, he developed a lot of blisters over the course of his pitching days. He tries the outside corner, just misses. So it's 1-2.
Got to get a barrel of that pickle brine. Soak those fingers in pickle brine. That'll eliminate the blisters.
I think he finally did that as you take a look at Jeter on at first base. One out here in the top of the first inning. And Bernie with that hard cut fastball or slider, fouling it off of his ankle. Of course, he's got protection there. And no matter how much protection you have, it still found some meat.
Yeah, when you see those sliders and fastballs down and in, and you get the top half up, boy, that guard comes in handy. But if it catches that the toe on top of that shoe, there's not a lot of padding there.
Right-handers only batting .251 with that lead by Jeter at first. And that is hit hard.
You mentioned the batting average. That's what's unusual, but managers play percentages. Here's Al Leiter. Left-handers hit .321 against him. And yet tonight, Boggs and O'Neill and Tino Martinez are all on the bench. Joe Torre going, as most managers do, with the righty versus lefty. Plus, I think to keep everybody's feelings in order, you give them their at-bats against left-hand pitchers.
And playing National League style baseball, they will probably see a lot of time. Hit well into right field. Sheffield going back and right in front of the warning track as Bernie tries to go the opposite way. 2 gone now here in the first inning. Well, kind of unusual, I think, but those stats that you mentioned, and you see some pretty good guys sitting on the Yankee bench. Now, you're talking about bench strength.
And if I'm Al Leiter, and I know I've had trouble with left-hand pitch because everything he throws is outside, I'm saying, I'm not too unhappy to see those left-hand hitters on the bench.
So Cecil Fielder will step in. He takes over at first base. Up high for a ball to Cecil. Cecil batting .276, home runs, 40 RBIs. He hit his 6th home run at Yankee Stadium a couple of nights ago. High and inside. Now it's 2-0, so Leiter has fallen behind as the Yankees come off of, well, their best homestand of 1997. They were perfect 5-0. And that big comeback win against the Chicago White Sox before they came to Miami. And Cecil was looking for number 7 on that one.
Boy, that's some pretty good heat from Al Leiter. I mean, as Dizzy Dean used to say, he reached back, got a little extra. That maybe on the inside part of the plate, threw it right by him.
I even felt a bit of breeze up here.
I don't know about that gun.
Bernie with a big jump, and the throw by Johnson is perfect. I mean, Derek had a huge jump off the Leiter. We talked about Johnson's arm, and he showed it off. You'll get a bunch of high fives. A 2-time Gold Glover ends the inning for the Yankees. We go to the bottom of the first. No score. New York Yankees baseball is sponsored by Nobody Beats the Wiz for total home entertainment. Nobody beats the Wiz, we know. And by Toyota, your local Toyota dealer. Toyota, I love what you do for me. And by the owners, managers, and crew who proudly call the McDonald's in your neighborhood my McDonald's. And by the new Dodge. Come see your local Dodge dealer today. And by Guinness Beer. Why man was given 5 senses. David Cone has taken his warm-up tosses. He's ready to toss them to the order coming up for the Marlins here at the bottom of the first inning.
There you see David's numbers. He's making his 15th start of the previous 14. He has given him a solid effort 12 times. Let's take a quick look at the McDonald's Marlins lineup. Luis Castillo, Alex Arias, Jim Eisenreich, then Gary Sheffield, Moises Alou, Bobby Bonilla, Jeff Conine, Charles Johnson, and Al Leiter.
And David Cone, who is averaging 10.3 strikeouts per 9 innings. And that's a typical swing for Castillo. I mean, he has got some kind of speed. All he does is chop it down and takes his chances from there.
And you see Charlie Hayes, he was about 75 feet away at third. That's the Yankees in the field. Bernie Williams in center, Mark Whitten in right, then Charlie Hayes, Derek Jeter, Luis Sojo, Cecil Fielder, Joe Girardi behind the plate, and newcomer Chad Curtis. Played center field quite a bit for the Tigers and for the Angels. But the 28-year-old is in left field tonight for the Yankees. And you see him checking with Bernie Williams where to play against the hitters.
They'll keep a close eye on Curtis as Alex Arias takes a pitch up high for a ball. Last-minute substitution at shortstop. Batting .316, 1 home run, 6 RBIs. Probably one of the best utility players in all of baseball. That's fouled off to the right side and out of play.
He's a New Yorker.
Born in New York.
Yep. Graduate of George Washington High School about a decade ago. He was the shortstop till that young man came along. That's 21-year-old Edgar Renteria. He's on the bench tonight with a slightly strained muscle in the back. Hope we get to see him this weekend.
Up high for a ball. Now it's 2-1 on Arias. The Yankees didn't score in the top half of the first inning, and this is the second batter for the Marlins here in the bottom half of the first. Well, it's turned out to be a beautiful night for baseball. Deep in the hole, Jeter will have to hurry, and the long throw is in time. Sometimes you have to wait. We've got a new umpiring crew here. This is the National League umpire.
Oh boy, and that couldn't be good news for the Marlins. It looked like Arias pulled up limping a little bit. Greg Bonnet, the first base umpire on the call. Of course, Derek Jeter doesn't know the speed of these National League players yet, so he fields it conventionally. Nice strong throw, and got him by just a half a stride.
An eyelash. One more look at it. That's what it takes to be a good shortstop. You've got to have a good arm. And this is Jim Eisenreich. Ball 1 to Eisenreich. Eisenreich, a .300 batter, 1 home run and 10 RBIs. High fly ball, shallow right field. And Whitten is there, and quietly the Marlins go here at the bottom of the first inning. So David Cone is on track here in the National League. Not anything new to him. Yankees and Marlins, no score. We'll be back. Between Florida and the Yankees, top of the second inning. Beautiful ballpark here at Pro Players.
Well, you see, Bobby, down the line, 330. That's in left field. As we pan around, you're going to see by the distances, it's much more favorable to hit the ball to left field. Only 361 out there in the power alley. Then it gets deep, goes way out to 434 in that left center field corner. And then as you pan around to right, it's pretty deep out there, 385. And it's actually a little larger model of Fenway Park.
Al Leiter pitching to Cecil Fielder. Cecil had a couple of strikes on him when Jeter was thrown out by Johnson in the inning in the first. So Cecil gets a new start. And it's a 1 ball. Check that, 2 ball, no strike count to Cecil.
Now we got another change. That's the third shortstop the Marlins have posted in an hour. That's Kurt Abbott. Played briefly with the Oakland Athletics, so Arias did come up lame running out that ground ball.
Well, let's take another look at it. And this could be costly for Leyland.
And see if we can spot him running out of the box. He almost beats this out. And then that last stride, right there, you see him go down on that. It appeared that he went down on his right knee, like he jammed it against the bag. You've probably done that before.
Inside, ball 4. So the first batter for the Yankees here in the second.
And you see Alex Arias being carried back to the Marlins clubhouse.
That may be more serious than they first thought.
But have you done that trying to run out
I jammed my ankle.
Yeah.
And you hit the bag the wrong way. You're trying to just get that extra little bit. And you catch the first base bag the wrong way and twist your ankle or your knee. As Charlie Hayes now takes one up high. Al Leiter throws a lot of pitches during his average of 5 innings. He's one of those leaders in walks. And he has given up his first walk to Cecil leading off this inning. He was the first in base on balls in the National League in 1996.
And the interesting thing with Al Leiter, you mentioned throwing all those pitches, which David Cone tends to do, and yet tonight behind the plate they have a guy that if they're around the plate, he'll call a lot of strikes for him.
Talking about Frank Pulley, the National League umpire. Charlie Hayes gets the first hit for the Yankees in interleague play. The Yankees now have runners at first and second, nobody out. Well, Charlie is he's no He knows the National League as well as anybody.
Yeah, I asked him about the background. I said, Charlie, what about the hitting background? He said, don't pay any attention to it. If you can hit, you can hit. and he did.
Pretty plain and simple.
Yeah, he got a fastball again on the inside half. That's Leiter's main address, is inside part of the plate. Charlie turned on it.
And the Yankees have something going on here in the second inning as Jim Leyland, the new manager for the Miami Marlins. Florida Marlins, that is. I keep calling them Miami. I know they're in Miami. And Whitten jammed just a bit, goes the opposite way, foul.
Jim Leyland, very close friend of Yankee coach Don Zimmer. In fact, a nice function today for a worthwhile cause. Unfortunately, the wife of former Miami Hurricane coach Ron Frazier, his wife Karen, is stricken with a disease called alpha-1 that attacks the lungs. And Jim Leyland, Don Zimmer, Joe Torre, a lot of the players attended that luncheon today for that cause. There's Zim. He and Jim Leyland go back to their National League days when Zim managed the Cubs.
Well, not only did the Marlins give the players a lot of money, they also gave their manager a lot of money. They want to bring that expertise over here to manage this high-priced crew, and that's inside for a called strike. To Whitten now, it's 0-2.
Yeah, I think when you see it in basketball now, when you give coaches or managers that kind of money, it establishes credibility and gives them a little authority.
Somehow Whitten gets a piece of that high fastball to stay alive. Well, you talk about Jim Leyland, first place in the National League Eastern Division 3 consecutive years with the Pirates, and a division title over there. They like him because he's a player's manager. He gets along well with his players. They know where they stand.
He's an encourager. One of the characteristics of a good leader is an encourager, and a guy that will make you feel relaxed in the job that you're supposed to do, and Leyland does an excellent job of that.
Swing and a miss, strike 3. A good hard breaking ball gets Whitten. One gone, 2 men on.
Well, you have to be impressed by the start here by Al Leiter. The way he's throwing the ball, I mean, there is a lot more pop on the ball than I saw him when he was with the Toronto Blue Jays. The last time the Yankees saw him was September 30 of 1995 in Toronto.
And Luis Sojo steps in. Misses inside and low. Well, do we go to National League Baseball as we take a look at Sojo's 316, 1 home run, 11 RBIs? Jim Leyland's the kind of guy that always likes to do something unusual, always coming up with a hit and run or a bunt or a squeeze. Or Sojo goes the opposite way down the right field line. Sheffield giving chase, and he can't catch up with him.
I'm sure where that National League Baseball quote you mentioned, Bobby, will come into play is when Joe Torre looks at his number 9 hitter tonight. In the American League, you don't worry about that. You had Joe Girardi hitting 9th, but now it is going to be a little more important for him to do things. You know, you're giving up some outs if you're Joe Torre. When you go to the American League park, if you're a National League man, you're getting some outs because you get that designated hitter. So that's going to change your strategy a bit.
Well, he's got some bodies to go to, and some pretty good bodies on that Yankee bench. This could be 2. Bonilla, the second for 1, back to Conine, 5-4-3 double play. And Leiter pitches out of this jam after the Yankees put 2 men on, nobody out. Sessa will grab the first base glove. The double play does it. We'll go to the bottom of the second. No score. New York Yankees and the Florida Marlins as we take a look at their GM.
Well, Dave Dombrowski, and talking to him before the game about how they built this club, but more importantly, he made an interesting statement. He said all year long you pull for your league in the All-Star game, you pull for your league in the World Series. There's Tony Perez, the ex-Cincinnati Red in the background, but Dombrowski says now, he said, except in our games, I'm pulling for the American League to win every game so we can gain ground out. He said, I've never had to do that before.
Well, he's got a pretty good matchup tonight in the Baltimore Orioles, and the Atlanta Braves are hooking it up, and they're going with their 3 best in that series.
What a great treat that'll be for the Atlanta fans.
No kidding. Gary Sheffield with a check swing foul on the first pitch. And Dwight Gooden, who has joined the Yankees roster, will on Sunday as he pitches here. And
yeah, I guess on Sunday, Bobby, he'll really be trying to get Gary Sheffield to cry uncle. Right?
Uncle Gary. Outside and low. Sheffield with the numbers of a .244 batting average, 6 home runs and 23 RBIs. Says that he is still bothered by that injured left thumb, and he's unable to really crank that bat up like he did in 1996 with a pitch foul back without a play. Plus the fact that they don't pitch to him a whole lot either.
Yeah, he cocks that bat out toward the mount like Dick Allen used to do. He points the barrel toward the pitcher, and when he does that, if you're doing it in your living room, you can see what it does to your left thumb. And that was the thumb he jammed. I think that's what you're talking about. He doesn't have quite the freedom of movement there.
Well, he will do that, but at the moment Cone delivers the ball, he'll stop it and set his hands. Now it's 2-2.
See Joe Girardi look back at Frank Pulley. I'm sure he said, Frank, you usually call that a strike. That was a pretty good pitch. I think it fooled Frank Pulley, too.
They try to get in on Sheffield with that hard stuff. You can see that protection that he uses on his left elbow. Chopper left side, but it's foul. Yeah, you'll see those guys that have that protection on their left forearm or their left elbow. You know who gets hit and where they try to pitch them.
Nowadays, hitters dive into the ball so much more. We see it with Mo Vaughn. We saw it with Jim Leyritz when he was with the Yankees. So
they both have big pads,
right?
Too.
The guys that dive in, they want that protection.
Good breaking ball, striking out Sheffield, leading off here in the second. David Cone, who's averaging 10-plus strikeouts per 9 innings.
Yeah, David Cone is saying, hey, no disrespect, Gary Sheffield. I know they walk you a lot in the National League, but I'm not going to try to. I mean, he makes a perfect pitcher's pitch to Sheffield. Tight, biting slider in the outside corner.
Sheffield is gone, and Moises Alou will step in. And Cone will be facing Alou. 303 hitter, 8 home runs, 54 RBIs. And the breaking ball up high for a ball. Well, Bonilla used to bat behind Sheffield. Alou now is the hot hitter on this ball club, so he protects Sheffield in the lineup, and he gets a chance to knock in a lot of runs for this ball club.
Which is why he's leading the Marlins in RBIs. He's 3rd in the American League. As we look at our GMC batting leaders, Andres Galarraga with 69 RBIs in Bagwell, and right now, perhaps, in fact, in Jim Leland's words, and I agree, the best all-around player in baseball right now, Larry Walker.
Hit hard. Jeter up with it, and there's 2 gone. Well, you talked about Larry Walker. Well, Larry Walker had a statement in the paper today. Did you see that?
I did not.
He said, I won't be in the lineup when Randy Johnson is pitching. He said, forget that deal.
He said,
I'm protecting my life.
Yeah, he said, first of all, you make you look bad, and it can also put you in a slump.
Forget that.
Hey, this ought to be a fun matchup right here.
Talking about Bobby Bonilla. Part of that free agency signing. Bonilla sent one deep down the right field line, but not deep enough, and it's actually foul. If you give Bobby Bonilla a fastball, you're crazy. Fastball to hit, that is.
Speaking of deep, Bobby, this happened a couple of weeks ago against Kevin Brown. A hanging slider, and Andres watch where this ball hits. I mean, way up here, above the. I mean, that ball is Rich Donnelly, and this came later in the game when Dennis Cook knocked him down, but Rich Donnelly, one of the Marlins coaches, had a great line about Galarraga's home run. He said if it were a sacrifice fly hit that far, which probably would have gone 600 feet, the whole state of Rhode Island could have tagged up and scored. That's how deep it was, and with all due respect to the Mick, that one might have been a little bit farther.
Well, that was just in celebration of Jackie Robinson's 50th year. And a swing and a miss by Bonilla. Now it's 1-2. Talked about Bonilla, that fastball. And we'll take one more look. That's the logo up and way up
in the upper deck there.
Swing and a miss on an off-speed pitch. That's what you get Bonilla out on. And Bonilla, even though he hit the ball hard against Cone, Cone has a couple of strikeouts. We'll go to the top of the third. Go score. Leiter's first pitch to Girardi, leading off here to third, is outside for a ball. It'll be Girardi, David Cone, and then back up top with Jeter. No score. Shallow fly ball at right field. Easy play for Sheffield, and there's one gone. This game is moving along in National League style.
It's a National League game, Bobby, but what Joe Torre was hoping for right there, I'm sure, Joe Girardi is an aggressive hitter, swings early in the count. He really wants his number 8 hitter to get on base so he can use David Cone to sacrifice the man. But this isn't a bad matchup. Cody has not had a hit in 5 years back in 1992, but he can swing the bat.
Well, let's go to the stats, okay? Lefties are batting .321 against Leiter. And Leiter outside, ball 1. Well, beware of the sluggers. There's the Yankee pitching staff.
Mike Stanton was an all-state center fielder when he played high school ball in Texas.
And now Leiter is followed behind 2-0.
Doc had 7 long. And this is the one thing I wondered about with interleague play now facing a pitcher.
Do you let him hit here?
No. But, Leiter's used to it, but I'm eager to see when David Cone faces Leiter because, all you have to do is throw it over, and sometimes that's the toughest time to do it.
And he's having a hard time against Cone. He's followed behind 3-1.
Now, all the pitchers, Joe Torre's battle cry is go up there and stroke out a base on balls.
And look at the interesting eyes, and that's inside corner for a call strike. Now it's 3-2. Okay.
Get in your emergency position.
Now you're ready. If it's close. Hey, pretty good swing. Now, Cone was 0 for 2. Look at Martinez. He's ready just in case they're sitting on the left side over here. So they think maybe he may be a little bit late on the fastball.
Yeah, this is the fun part of the game. These guys been looking forward to this.
Oh! He was going downtown, but he's going to grab some pie. Well,
it's a serious game. It's important to the Yankees, but you got to have fun, and the pitchers are looking forward to this. Leiter with that high blazer. That's what Coney says. Now I know why hitters swing at Mariano Rivera's fastball.
2 outs. In interleague play, when you're in the National League Park, you got to use the pitcher as the batter. When they move up to Yankee Stadium and play American League baseball, the National League could use the designated hitter. And a lot of people feel that that's really not fair.
Well, it isn't. I mean, that's what Major League Baseball has been going through for 23 years. They can't play in the same set of rules in both leagues. It's ridiculous. From a pure baseball standpoint, I don't know how you feel. I like the game itself without the DH, but let's face it, fans like entertainment, and it's enabled people like Paul Molitor to extend their career. So from an entertainment standpoint, the designated hitter is the way to go, but both leagues ought to have it the same way.
I like a good pitcher's duel once in a while, but if I had to come out and see one every day, it would be boring to me, and that's the reason the American League established that designated hitter to add offense. Offense adds excitement.
Maybe we could do it every other week. We'll go a week with the DH and a week without it. Whatever it is, have it the same in both leagues.
Well, baseball is trying something new in 1997. Who in the heck knows what's in store down the road. And this interleague play will last for a couple of years, and then they will make another decision on whether they want to keep it, refine it, or do away with it. Swing and a miss, strike 3. So Leiter striking out 2 of 3 Yankees here in the third. Now pitchers do it. Called in Leiter, don't score. Ball is brought to you by Nobody Beats the Wiz. For total home entertainment, nobody beats the Wiz, we know. And And by your New York Jeep and Eagle dealer, there's only one Jeep, and it's only at your Tri-State Jeep and Eagle dealer. And by Delta, proudly sponsored by the 62,000 professionals at Delta Airlines. We go to the bottom of the third. Bottom three for the Marlins coming up, led off by Jeff Conine.
Hey, we got a note from one of our old buddies here. Doc Cannell.
Hey, where is he?
Dan Cannell, the medical report on Edgar Renteria. And it's signed by Dan Cannell. Experienced some discomfort in the left side of his upper back. Of course, when you were playing with the Yankees in the brief time I was there, Dr. Dan was our doctor. Now, of course, he's in South Florida and services the Marlins and the Dolphins.
Conine hits it hard. Soho is there, and there's one gone.
Well, there was a warm moment at the bottom of the first inning for the fans here at Pro Player Park because they called Kevin Brown. They called Kevin Brown out of the Marlin dugout because this is the first time these fans have been able to acknowledge this feat right here. An inning-ending strikeout, and Kevin Brown pitches the second no-hitter in Marlins history. Al Leiter pitched the first one last year.
And this is Charles Johnson. And there's Kevin Brown.
Yeah, and a nice break for the Yankees. Like Andy Pettit's being moved back to Monday, so is Kevin Brown, so they won't have to face him on Sunday afternoon.
Fouled off to the right side.
There's Charles Johnson from Fort Pierce, Florida. Mentioned a native Floridian, played his college ball at the University of Miami, a #1 draft pick. And Dave Dombrowski said, we built this organization with our farm system to get in position to win, and now they've added the free agents to try to go for it.
And they've got a good one here in Johnson. A little bit laxing in the offense.
Yeah.
So he's got that long swing. They're trying to shorten his swing. But they don't have to do anything with his glove.
Yeah, the Yankees have advanced scouts no matter what league you're in, and Charles Johnson has trouble catching up with a high fastball with that long swing that Bobby talked about, and that's what Yankee pitchers are going to do to him. He can handle a low one all right, but not the high one.
Two gone, and Al Leiter steps in now. We'll see what cone features Al Leiter. First pitch up high for a ball.
Now, this is the toughest thing right now if you're David Cone, because you know this guy can't hit a lick. Look at the numbers, and all you have to do is throw it over. And sometimes you put a little more pressure on yourself to do that.
And like Leiter did to Cone, he has fallen behind 2-0. Yeah. Looks like Leiter's looking for something inside.
He's going to take at least 3 pitches.
I don't blame him.
I think.
Outside corner. Well, you got to be a little bit concerned if you're an American League manager, because your guys, most of them have never batted. A lot of them have. And Jose directing traffic in the outfield. He wants everybody in. Now Cone has fallen behind 3-1. Maybe he is saying to Leiter, okay, I'm doing exactly what you did to me, and I'll show you that I can strike you out on after getting behind 3-1.
Oh boy, he did him a favor there. David Cone, who had been so economical with his pitches through the first 8, falls behind 3-1 and gets Leiter to swing through it. Oh man.
Down low, ball 4. So Leiter is on.
It happens, and it is going to be the one thing psychologically the Yankee pitchers are going to have to overcome. David Cone knows it. Frank Pulley now. Hey, Frank Pulley's looking over at Joe Torre. He said, nah, my strike zone's pretty good, but that one was, well, let's see, was it too low? I guess it was.
Leiter not too happy.
They see Coney's reaction, but in reality, David will say the mistake I made was going to 3 balls in the first place against the pitcher.
0-1 the count on Castillo. Now the Marlins have batted around on Cone. Castillo 0 for 1, bouncing out to Hayes. Well, you put Leiter on, and in this heat, you get him to run around the base a little bit. You may wear him out.
Cecil's not holding him on.
You don't have to. Most of the time, Castillo's going to go the other way, and he'll try to bunt his way on. Girardi out in front of the home plate area like a cat, knowing that Castillo has that good speed. pitcher with 2 gone here in the 3rd. A lot of strikeouts in this game. Still no score. Top of the 4th.
Pro Player Park, where we are scoreless as we head to the top of the 4th inning. Cone and Leiter. And particularly, Bobby, I've not seen Al Leiter nor have the Yankee hitters since September of '95, and he's got a little more juice on that fastball. He missed about 3 weeks in May with a bone bruise in his right knee, and David Cone has been as economical through the first 3 innings as I've seen him.
Well, both of these pitchers, I don't know if they're just jockeying for position or if it's just the newness of being in this game tonight.
David,
now each and every one of the players have batted around on the opposing pitchers, so maybe they'll have a different perspective the second time around.
Well, we'll see if Chad Curtis does. He was a strikeout victim, 1 of 4 by Al Leiter. And that pitch high for a ball. David Cone has thrown just 34 pitches through 3 innings. We've seen games where he's done that in 1 inning. And in this heat, that's exactly what Mel Stoudemire would like from him. Ooh, that's pulled but ripped foul down the left field line, and it's 1-1 to Curtis.
Well, one of the things that you got to be, if you're a right-handed batter, you've got to have that good, quick stroke inside, because you know Leiter's going to try to get in there with that cut fastball or the slider. He'll also challenge you with the fastball in there. That's the reason he's so tough against right-handed hitters.
Breaking ball, just a little low, 2-1.
We talked about Kevin Brown's no-hitter. Al Leiter pitched the no-hitter first in Marlins history back in 1996.
That's outside, one of the rare pitches that Leiter throws on the outside part, and it's now 3-1 to Curtis.
Well, you talk about Leiter and you talk about David Cone. Both of them, as we mentioned, normally throw a lot of pitches, and they will walk players and hitters, but they've got something that they can reach back and get and strike out a player or two.
A little excuse me fly ball to right field. And Sheffield comes on to make the grab, 1 down.
Yeah, and Leiter can strike out. He's got 4 strikeouts in this game, so when they do get into trouble, they'll just reach back for a little bit more. And we're taking a look at Al Leiter's no-hitter in May of 1996. And Charles Johnson now. This young catcher has caught 2 no-hitters in this young Marlins franchise history.
What a thrill for Johnson as well as Al Leiter. That knocks Bernie Williams off the plate. I can already tell in Leiter's body language and his pace of pitching that he is adapted to the National League style. Like Bernie was just going to take one and it knocked him off the plate, because he's not walking around the mound. He's not taking as much time between pitches. All of his focus is right on Johnson's target. That's inside, and I have to believe that you'd credit pitching coach Larry Rothschild for that. Plus, I think the general pace of play in the National League sort of breeds that kind of concentration. You don't see guys wandering around and taking as much time between pitches in this league as you do in the American League. Again, inside with plenty on it. Like Oriole Park at Camden Yards, they post the pitches and the speed here at Pro Player Park, and most of Leiter's fastballs have been from 91 to 94. Lost him, so Bernie draws a 1-out walk. Leiter has walked 2 and hit 1.
And that was a 90-plus fastball, but out of the strike zone.
That was a 94. I know when Leiter first came up, I mentioned he was second-round draft pick of the Yankees in '84. He had that blazer, and then he lost a little bit of it. Became more of a slider pitcher.
Well, he is mature. That's what's helped him more than anything else.
Down and into fielder for a ball.
And what a guy like Charles Johnson does to a pitching staff, when you kind of like Thurman Munson was with the Yankees. When he puts down the 1 in location, you don't question him. You just do it. You know that he knows what he's doing. He knows how to call a good game. He's a good defensive catcher, and you've got all the confidence in the world. And all you have to do is worry about pitching.
Yeah. And that's what Leiter has to worry about right now, because after walking Bernie Williams, he now falls behind 2-0 to Cecil Fielder. And Cecil will be looking for, if he gets one of those inside fastballs now, he'll be looking to turn on. And it's high, 3-0. Johnson with a quick trot to the mound. Just a word, because a lot of you are not familiar with the Florida Marlins and the way they built this team. There's Larry Rothschild, the pitching coach. Jeff Conine, the first baseman, and Pat Rapp, who will pitch Sunday. They were their first 2 drafts from the expansion draft. And they've acquired a number of players through trade, of course, and we talked about the free agents they've signed this year. Taking all the way, and Fielder draws a 4-pitch walk, so that is now 8 out of the last 9 pitches that Leiter has thrown have missed the strike zone.
And the 3rd walk for Leiter in this game. Leiter came in with 34 base on balls and 53 and 2/3 innings. That's going to get a visit from the pitching coach, Rothschild.
In fact, Bobby, if you look at Chad Curtis, you know, he hit that check swing. That was a 3-1 count. Might have been 4.
Yeah, that looked like it was up in the strike zone. Yeah. Trying to hold off.
There's an ex-Marlin.
Yeah, Scott Pose, actually in some of the Marlins first, as you were talking about the franchise, Scott Pose was the first batter and also the first runner, base runner, in Marlins history.
And made an outstanding game-saving catch on opening day in 1993. So he got to see a lot of his old buddies, though a lot of faces have changed. There's some that are still around here.
In the clubhouse before today's ball game, he had a big press conference.
Oh, yeah.
He was wanting to know what was going on.
Well, the Yankees threaten here with 1 out, a pair of walks, and here's Charlie Hayes, who has a hit in his only time up, and that's the only Yankee hit. And that slider misses for a ball.
Well, at this time, I think the Yankee hitters have got to give Leiter a chance to really dig himself a big hole. Try to be patient. That's the biggest thing when you go up with men on base, is being patient, get the pitch that you want to hit.
Lays off and again. Leiter's reached that point now that every pitcher that's been out there realizes when you have to throw a strike, it's the toughest time to do it. You squeeze the ball, you aim the ball. You think more about throwing than about pitching. That's in for a strike, 2-1.
I think Charlie Hayes did the right thing there. He makes Leiter at least throw 1 strike. Yeah, but you can lull that hitter into not being fully concentrated on a pitch when they're throwing a lot of balls.
Fouled out of play. Now it's 2-2.
Two-one pitch, and boy, it was in Hayes' wheelhouse.
Yeah.
I think he was raking on that when he just got underneath it, maybe pulled off of it just a little bit.
Yeah, he had designs on making it a 3-0 ball game there, because that was a similar pitch to the one he got a single on. Tried to leave the yard on that one. Bernie's at second. Bernie Williams drew a walk, and Cecil Fielder also at first drew a base on balls. Popped up in the infield. And the infield fly rule in effect. Jeff Conine makes the grab, and that's the 2nd out of the Yankee 4th.
Well, that's what Leiter and David Cone, they have, is that when they do get into trouble, they're able to pitch themselves out of it, even though Leiter's not out of this completely. But we've seen Cone through the first part of this year be in trouble in a lot of games and strike out the side just to get out of it.
Yeah, the better stuff you have, and Cone and Leiter both have great stuff, the more you can get hitters out even when you're behind in the count. The contact pitchers can't do that. Whitten takes a slider in for a strike.
Now Leiter graduated from Central Regional High School in Bayville, New Jersey.
inside for a ball.
Well, I suspect there's a lot of people back in New York that's very interested in this start.
Oh, he mentioned he was a second-round draft pick in 1984. He was the youngest pitcher to come up for the Yankees. That was in 1984, since Jose Rijo had done it a year before that at age 20. Yes, he did.
Well, that's a nasty pitch.
Yep. He lives on the inside part of that plate.
Watch this. This is nasty. And you want to lay off of it. You see it. It's out over the middle of the plate. The next thing you know, it just darts inside and hard.
Yeah, that's got a little Ron Guidry in it, that slider. Struck him out. Leiter comes back after issuing 2 walks, disgusted with the base on balls, but happy with the strikeout of Mark Whitten. That's his 5th, and we go to the bottom of the 4th at Pro Player Park. We're still scoreless. New York Yankees baseball is brought to you by your Tri-State GMC dealer. And by Bell Atlantic, local and regional toll calling plans. Bell Atlantic, the heart of communications. And David Cohn, again, a lot of first pitch strikes. It's the first one in to Kurt Abbott. This is his first at bat. Edgar Renteria scheduled to start. Scratched with a strained back muscle. Arias injured his leg. And Abbott with good hitting numbers. He's done a good job in a part-time role. On the edge, 0-2.
I understand that Arias has a left hamstring strain and will be evaluated day to day. So, you know, a lot of times when you are trying to reach out and just get a little bit more.
There's the 21-year-old Edgar Renteria. Got him. 3-pitch strikeout, and Abbott is down on strikes. That's Cohn's 4th of the game.
Tony is so excellent at changing speeds, changing locations, changing arm angles, and he will just wear you out because you can't get settled in and just look for just the same thing pitch after pitch from David Cohn. He gives you so many different looks.
And here's his first look to Jim Eisenreich, a backdoor slider. Now, David Cohn is the kind of individual that knows coming in here in National League Park and the interleague rivalry, he's going to take on the responsibility, say this is a little something special, and he's pitching rather special. That's in on the hands, and Girardi in front of the Yankee dugout puts it away. 2 quick outs.
I don't know if it has any effect at all. It probably does. But, you know, Cohn had pitched in so many games when the weather was like 50 degrees and below because summer was just not coming. And all of a sudden, here we are in Miami, and summer is certainly here in Miami with the heat we have here. That may have given maybe Cohn a little bit different feel to baseball. He's a better feel, I guess.
Yeah, that's a good point. David had those 4 or 5 blood clots down near the tips of those fingers, and the fact that he can feel the baseball and he is doing it in such economical fashion, that's not usually David's. That's not the way he operates. He usually goes to so many deep counts. Ball 1 to Sheffield. Bit high. Well, Frank Pulley, probably like a lot of umpires, will not give you the borderline high strike, but they will give you the low one. There's our Toyota box score. Just the walk to Leiter. That's in for a strike.
Where Sheffield has a tremendous on-base percentage, a high on-base percentage with all those walks. And talk about somebody that has to be special in the concentration market is Gary Sheffield. Look at that pitch. Now that's a National League strike.
Ooh, that's another nasty one. Cohn fell behind 2-0 and has come back with 2 really tough pitches.
You know, you can lull Sheffield asleep now because he goes up there thinking you're not going to pitch to him. He'll need an extension of that bat to hit that one.
The nephew of Doc Gooden, Gary Sheffield. Oh, a little hesitation, and he got him. David Cohn, creative on the mound, hesitates, sidearm Laredo breaking ball, and he has struck out Gary Sheffield twice. around the corner. We go to the top of the fifth here at Pro Player Stadium. Still no score between the Yankees and the Marlins. Go to the top of the fifth. Charlie Hayes has the only hit in the ball game. And Al Leiter to Luis Sojo to start the Yankee fifth. That's in for a strike.
See Sojo back away from that first pitch from Leiter. He was taking that first pitch all the way, giving Al Leiter a chance to get wild again.
A rare changeup misses. Bobby, you referred to it earlier in the game of Joe Torre might think about National League style baseball with pitchers in control and the pitchers hitting. Good swing there, fouled straight back. We might see some, bunting, hitting, and running here at this stage of the game to try to scratch out a run.
Well, speaking of pitchers, David Cone has really done a great job so far. And he's Coney right on track along with Al Leiter.
Outside to Sojo. The count goes to 2-2. Yeah, David Cone with 5 strikeouts, and look at the unusual. That's a little Louis Tiant to it, isn't it?
Definitely Louis.
Yeah. They able to get creative out there. Sojo out in front of the slider, pops it up just outside of third where Bonilla is there. 1 down.
Well, it's exciting for everybody. The Yankee clubhouse was buzzing with lots of reporters and cameras and players walking around introducing themselves to people that they've never met before. And interleague play, even though it's not championship play yet, and the only time that American National League face each other is in the championship series, along with the All-Star game, of course. But there is a lot of excitement, at least for the first time around, for everybody, including the fans. I mean, I was up all night last night trying to figure out who in the heck these Marlin players were.
Well, their philosophy is Girardi takes that strike on the outside corner, and in talking to Dave Dombrowski, the general manager, about that, their philosophy was entirely different from the Colorado Rockies. They both came into the National League in 1993. That's outside for a ball. And the Rockies said, let's put a competitive team on the field right now. And they did, and they got to the playoffs. The Marlins said, let's draft some young players, develop them, and then when we get to the point, we'll add the free agents and see if we can win. And now at the 5-year mark, they're at that point. You mentioned all the money they've spent, and they feel they can, well, they've got the 3rd best record in the major leagues.
They're 4.5 games back of the Atlanta Braves, so they're right on the heels of the Braves right now. Miami 37-26, and the Yankees 36-27, so similar records.
Yeah, we've got, there's Dave Dombrowski, 2 of the top 4 records in the major leagues right here. That's inside. Of course, the Braves on top, and then the Orioles and the Marlins and the Yankees. And ironically, they're all hooking up this weekend.
And I think that the Marlins finally decided that the only way we are going to have a chance to catch the Braves is spend a little money, bring in some offense, and add some pitching.
Well, let's check on our out-of-town scoreboard. We can't say in the American League. We just say
in the interleague.
Yeah, Major League Baseball. The Mets with a 1-run lead, all pitching in Atlanta in the bottom of the 3rd. No score there. Up the middle, but right there is Kurt Abbott. A little pirouette, and the accurate throw to Conine is in time. 3rd on the depth chart at shortstop, and makes a nice play for the Marlins. That's the 2nd out of the Yankee 5th.
2nd out, 3rd shortstop for the Marlins tonight. It's pretty nifty being the 3rd backup. Girardi hits the ball hard, but quickly Abbott, he can show that he's got some good footwork there and a good arm. And a nice stretch by Conine at first.
Well, the Oakland A's thought at one time he might be their shortstop. That backs Cone away from the plate. Tony La Russa liked the way he swung the bat. He didn't know whether Abbott was going to be able to play in the field, but he settled in very nicely here in Florida. And in the dugout right now, they're telling Coney, get it started a little quicker.
Turn it up a notch or two. They got a piece of one.
Yeah, he's trying. It's 1-2.
I'm afraid what's going to happen if Leiter throws one of those hard sliders down the way. Here it is.
Well, what Joe Torre is hoping is...
Hey, that was a double.
Yeah, they just don't hurt yourself. Tapped out in front of the mound. Leiter will... Yeah, no hamstring.
No.
So the Yankees go quickly and quietly in the 5th. Leiter has allowed 1 hit. Cone is yet to give up a hit. We head to the Marlin 5th, still scoreless in Miami. The Marlins, it's all pitching, and they got a mascot down here in Florida.
Billy Marlin, watch out, Billy.
Oh,
Well,
hang in there.
yeah, hang in there. He'll have to talk to his driver. Good thing he didn't get that Marlin nose stuck in the wall out there.
So good entertainment between innings for the fans, but during the game, it has been serious pitching. Moises Alou steps in against David Cone and taps this out. Jeter will have to hurry, and he won't get it. David Cone could not get a quick jump off the mound. It was hit right off the end of the bat, and the Marlins have their first hit of the game.
Well, Cone, you know, falls off to the mound, and he just couldn't recover quick enough, and it's a slow roller. Moises with pretty good speed, so he gets us started with an infield hit. Quite a line of baseball players in the Alous. And you can always tell when a player smells a base hit. They just give it a little bit extra.
So that was the Marlins first, and here's Bonilla, and Alou is on the run. It's skied into center field. Bernie Williams is there, first out of the game, so Jim Leyland wasted no time in getting his running game in order.
Well, it's one of those pitchers do is you got to try to start something if you can. Take a look at some more interleague play scores.
Brewers with bragging rights at this stage, or they win it 4-2. Chiefs and the Royals and the Pirates, and the White Sox lead by a run at Synergy Field in Cincinnati.
Look at all these low-scoring games.
Well, the hitters haven't seen these pitchers yet, I guess. Blue Jays and the Phillies, no score. I think that, you know, the pitchers do have an advantage.
Oh, no doubt about that.
Now, some of the Marlins hitters have seen David Cone, but I know the Marlins this year have been defeated by 9 different pitchers that they've seen for the first time. So, you know, it takes them a little while to adjust. Conine lifts this to medium deep right. Whitten is there. And he puts it away, 2 down.
Well, we talked about the adjustment of the pitchers and getting to know them. What about the different strike zones that everybody talks about in the National League and American League? American League supposedly has real small strike zone, and the National League a little bit more generous.
I guess that's one of the reasons I like interleague play. With all the scouting reports and the game, the way it's controlled from the dugouts, here you just go out and you let your skills take over, and you say, let's just play good old country hardball and see who wins.
I'll go for that.
First pitch to Johnson outside for a ball. I mentioned Charles, a 2-time Gold Glove winner. He does have 5 home runs, but the batting average down there in the 200s, and he has difficulty catching up with that high fastball.
Depending on who you talk to about catching, some will say he is better than Ivan Rodriguez, you know, with Texas, and everybody thinks he's the best in baseball. And then on the other hand, you get to talking about people who say, well, you know, Johnson is a great defensive catcher, but he can't hit like Rodriguez.
That's true. Yeah, you have to evaluate them just on their catching ability. Charles doesn't have the flair that Pudge Rodriguez, you know, those snap throws to first base. That's outside for a ball, but he does it. I mean, look at the throw he made in the first inning. He did that so, you know, gracefully. Didn't look like he put a lot on the throw, and it got down there in plenty of time.
And Jeter had a big jump.
In the air. Looks like there's going to be 3 flyouts after the infield hit by Alou as Bernie Williams puts it away. That completes the 5. 5 innings of shutout pitching by Cone and Leiter. Scoreless. We head to the top of the 6th in Miami. Well, it's been warm in New York for a while, but it is a little hotter down here in the South Bronx, and there's plenty of Yankee fans on hand down here in South Florida.
A lot of transplanted New Yorkers in South Florida. In fact, if you took a survey, there probably it'll be at least 50% Yankee fans here. What in the heck is that brewing?
Well, you see that looming overhead, and that's characteristic.
I'm not going to look at that.
Yeah, South Florida this time of the year, you'll get some thunder boomers. Now, the Marlins have been delayed for a time or two, but believe it or not, they have not had any rainouts at home this year.
Now, it rained all day yesterday. I mean, they had 2, 3, 4, 5 inches of rain here in South Florida. Rain, go away.
Al Leiter to Derek Jeter. That's upstairs for a ball. Just through 5 innings, give you an idea how economical David Cone has been. Leiter has thrown 85 pitches. That's a lot through 5 innings. David Cone has only thrown 51. And that means if he continues to pitch like this, Joe Torre could get a complete game out of him. That's in for a strike. David has but one this year.
And you have to you may have to make a decision somewhere along the line, since Cone is the batter.
That's
to
right.
Take him out of the game.
Forgot about that.
For a hitter somewhere down the line.
Yeah, we do have to consider that. Jeter swings through the Leiter fastball, 1-2, and I'm sure Joe Torre is thinking about it. Any kind of a base runner now, you're going to see a bunt or a hit and run or something to try to scratch out a run and give David Cone a lead.
Well, if this is any consolation to you, Joe Torre, the Marlins are officially 0 for 3 in their history on Friday the 13th.
How about that? Little known facts.
Yep. You never know. Everything can help. Every little thing can help.
Bobby Mercer pulled out for us.
I bet Leyland doesn't know that.
His team has come off a terrific road trip. You know, they're out of the 31 games, the stretch that they're in the middle of, they're only going to play 7 at home. Fouled out of play. So, you know, they just came from New York, Colorado, and San Francisco. 3 tough places. They were 5-3. We mentioned they have the 3rd best record in the major leagues, and Jim Leyland says, we really haven't played that well yet. And when they start getting more and more home games, they play very well here at Pro Player Stadium. You can see why he's got some pretty good hopes of reaching the postseason play. Down on strikes, Jeter. Again, inside pitch from Leiter. Derek's 2nd strikeout of the game.
Well, you can see why Leiter is so tough on right-handed hitters. Watch this breaking ball. You try to hold up. There's no way you can hold up. The difference in that hard slider there as compared to Ron Guidry's. Guidry's kind of broke down and in a little bit more. This is kind of just right into you.
There's Curtis. That's sliced inside the bag and down the right field line. And Curtis, heading for second, will slide in just ahead of Sheffield's throw with a 1-out double.
Well, maybe Joe Torre knew something, putting Curtis in the lineup. He's going the opposite way all the way and inside the bag past Conine. Sheffield over quickly. Sheffield with a good arm in right field, but Curtis also has good speed. And just beats the tag with that strong throw from Sheffield.
So Chad Curtis gets his first hit as a member of the New York Yankees, and that was a rare outside pitch that Leiter threw. What I'm looking for, Bobby, from the Yankee hitters is I wonder when one of them, Bernie or Cecil Fielder, is going to try to turn on that low slider and rip it down the left field line. So far, they've really been tied up by it.
A couple of them have turned on it, but they've pulled it foul. They've been a little bit too quick. Thought I saw a bit of lightning.
Would not be surprising.
Maybe those were cameras.
Yeah. And they'll pay attention to Curtis because he would have the ability to steal third base. And again, Castillo is keeping him close. We had a chance to talk a lot about the Marlins second baseman, just 21 years old. That's upstairs for a ball. He is from, as you might expect, that Mecca for Major League middle infielders, San Pedro de Macorís down in the Dominican Republic. And if Renteria is healthy, they have a 21-year-old double play combination.
The only question about Castillo, can he hit enough?
Again, late on the fastball, and Bernie fouls that out of play.
And certainly if he gets some support, he will be able to hit enough along with Charles Johnson to stay in that lineup. There's no question about his speed, Castillo. And you talked about that young double play combination here.
Jim Leland says he's 21, and he and Renteria are going to be good players for a long time, but I have to be patient with them. They're going to make a lot of mistakes. Going to take them a while to develop into good hitters. You know, Castillo still has 46 hits. He's hitting 279. He's getting that with his speed and just slapping the ball. Again, they pay a lot of attention to Chad Curtis.
Well, the Marlins have a good start. If you talk about being strong up the middle with Johnson and Castillo and Renteria and Devon White, who is on the disabled list, nobody better in the outfield than White, so Marlins really missed him out there. And then with this pitching staff that they've put together.
Ooh, right on that one. You see Bernie almost corkscrew himself into the ground, and he fouled it straight back.
Bernie had eyes of doing something with this. You see that Johnson wanted the ball inside a little bit more, and Bernie's reaction was, boy, I had my pitch and I just got underneath it.
You hitters all say you get one good at pitch every at bat. One good pitch, and that might have been Bernie's. A ball and 2 strikes with 1 down, and Curtis at second. No score here in Miami. High 2-2.
Curtis wants to test Johnson's arm anymore. I think they've heard about Johnson. Now they've seen it.
Yeah. I don't know that they would be as apt to do it with Bernie Williams and Cecil Fielder on deck. Here's a couple of guys with the ability to knock in a run without a stolen base. Inside again, no surprise. The count is full. Bernie drew a walk in the 4th, and then Fielder drew a walk, and the Yankees had something going, but Leiter came back to get out Charlie Hayes and strike out Mark Whitten. And his pitch count now up at about 100. In the air to center field, a Lou coming on will not be able to get it. Curtis is being waved home. And the Yankees are on the board. They lead it 1-0 on the RBI single by Bernie Williams, his 48th RBI.
Chad Curtis already paying dividends for the Yankees in his first game since the trade. And Bernie Williams, I think he got another pitch that he didn't fail this time. No fouling it back. It turns into an RBI single. And the first run for the Yankees and the first interleague run for the New York Yankees. And Curtis makes a nice decision here. He could see, and he made a decision that Lou would not catch up with that fly ball. He comes on home.
There goes Bernie Williams, and the throw is yes. What a play by Castillo to hang on to that throw, and they're testing Charles Johnson, and he's gunned them both down. Jeter in the first, and now Bernie Williams.
I don't think they are testing Charles Johnson as much as they are Al Leiter.
Yeah,
Al Leiter, they're getting great jumps off of Leiter. They know what kind of arm Johnson has, but give this one to Castillo. He's the guy that dug it out of the dirt and put the tag on Bernie. What a play. And you can see the 21-year-old hanging tough in on that base runner.
So Joe Torre trying to take advantage of every opportunity, but Johnson and Castillo teamed up to gun down Bernie Williams high to Cecil Fielder.
I'm going to tell you that Jeter and also Bernie Williams had big jumps off of Al Leiter, and Johnson still threw them out. I think he said you couldn't have had a better jump.
Yeah. Well, again, there's part of the entertainment of interleague play. I mean, there's a guy we haven't had a chance to see. You've heard a lot about him, two-time Gold Glove winner. And you get a chance to see his arm. Cecil, and it looks like Al Leiter has said, even though coming into tonight's game, Fielder was like 1 for 12 against Leiter, he is not going to give him anything to hit. And he draws his third walk, and Larry Rothschild to the mound.
Well, the second visit for the pitching coach. Now, if you take a look to the 6th inning, now that the Yankees have taken the lead, Al Leiter is scheduled to lead off in the 6th inning, and
which is why they'd like to have him finish this inning.
Yeah.
Right now,
in case they want to pinch hit for it.
Yeah, and then certainly with the score 1-0 in favor of the Yankees and Leiter's history, he has been basically a 5 2/3 6-inning pitcher. But, Rothschild is saying, hey, get us one more out, and your night is over.
Certainly here in the National League, you see Jim Leyland. He's constantly looking at that lineup card because there are a lot of switches that they can make in the National League. A lot of pinch hit, double switches.
I think, you know, Joe Torre managed over here. I think that's one of the things that managers enjoy in the National League is they constantly have to look ahead as when they might have to pinch hit, take the pitcher out. Charlie Hayes laces this into center field for a line drive single. Fielder will stop at second, so Hayes has his second hit of the night. The Yankees' fourth. And there's 2 on with 2 down.
Now, Charlie Hayes, in his last time up, he got a good pitch to hit, and Bernie Williams now with that caught stealing. I mean, the Yankees would really have something going on, but Hayes gets this low inside fastball this time. And he sends it into center field for a base hit. Remember, he just missed it his last time up.
And here's Witten. That's low for a ball.
I think it's a part of adjustment for the hitters, you know, on new pitchers like this. Judging that velocity, judging on how they think they're going to pitch the hitter. It takes a while to settle in.
Inside corner, Witten could not hold up. Now, Witten is one of the Yankee hitters that has had success against Leiter. Fielder is at second. Cecil drew his third walk. That's Mark's season average, but almost a 400 hitter against Leiter coming into this game. Broken bat. Boy, he is stacking some lumber with that inside slider.
I mean, he's pounding.
Rob Stanifer, one of the Marlins. See, he would be up right now. If needed, he would come in for a 1-out appearance. That's how you have to utilize your bullpen in the National League, because then Jim Leyland would immediately pinch hit for him. Hot and muggy, as you'd expect in South Florida this time of the year. Always thunderstorms lurking around the area. Good swing by Witten. Now this inning, Bobby, Leiter is left just a couple pitches out over the plate. Williams and Hayes have taken advantage of him, and Witten just missed that one.
Well, you live upstairs, and after you've thrown a lot of pitches, you wear down a little bit, and that fastball doesn't have as much giddy up in the 6th inning and 5th inning as it did in the 1st.
Did he get it? Yes, he did. Frank Pulley said you went around. Mark Witten didn't think so, but Al Leiter has punched out Mark Witten all 3 at-bats. But we head to the bottom of the 6th here with the Yankees on the board. They lead this one 1-0.
Fans, tonight at 11, check out George Costanza's bold new look as Henry VIII. Could he be stirring up the latest fashion craze of the night? Or has George gone totally crazy? Find out tonight on Seinfeld. It all starts tonight at 11, only on the WB11.
You love those Seinfeld promos, don't you?
I love Seinfeld.
Yeah.
That's a great series.
Had to catch him last night. This pitch from David Cohn is in for a strike as Al Leiter is left in the ballgame. Surprising, but Jim Leyland, I think, likes the way he's keeping his team in the game. That's on the edge for a strike. And the most effective pitchers for the Marlins have been Jay Powell and Rob Nen when you get to the 8th inning. So that middle area, maybe Leland feels right now that Leiter has got the best chance of keeping the Yankees in check.
Well, go ahead, I'm sorry.
A quick 3-pitch strikeout to make up for the walk that David Cohn issued.
I was going to say that, yeah, I kind of feel like you do. Surprising, because the Yankees ended up with 3 hits in the 6th inning and a run off of him, and he was leading off, and he's leading off this inning. He's got a high pitch count, and normally doesn't last more than 5+ innings. And Leland is getting paid a lot of money to make those decisions. You and I can only talk about it. You get paid a lot of money, but
well, I think if you're Jim Leland, you might say it's a 1-run ball game. Leiter has been dominating this lineup except for a couple of pitches, so you're gambling that he can hang on for a couple more. Bunted right back to David Cohn, and the toss to fielder in time. And again, David Cohn, I think in the 2 years that I've covered him as a Yankee, is having his most economical game in terms of keeping the pitch count down and throwing a lot of first pitch strikes.
And he's throwing a lot of strikes. That's the key. And Castillo always trying to use his speed to get on base. But I would think if you're going to bunt against David Cohn, you would want to try to go to the left side of David, because he falls off to the mound to the right side.
Here's Kurt Abbott. That's in for a strike.
Boy, you know as a pitcher, though, and I know as a hitter, that first pitch strike really changes the complexion of the at-bat for the hitter.
Most important pitch in the sequence.
And I forgot to tell you, you got a little bit too many first strike pitches on me.
Yeah, well, I
remember
one I did.
That irritated me awfully bad.
I remember one I didn't. I would say about 21 years ago.
Yeah. That's the reason I have gray hair.
Got him. 3-pitch strikeout, and David Cohn again. The Marlins go quickly and quietly against David Cohn. Just a little infield single by Moises Alou is the only hit the Marlins had. He has been sensational. We head to the top of the 7th. Nice pitchers duel. Yankees lead at 1-0. Boy, if you like pitching, you got a good one for this first interleague matchup. 1-0 Yankees over the Marlins. Let's check our Delta upcoming schedule. Tomorrow night we'll be right back on WB11, 7 o'clock start. David Wells, a pitch against Alex Fernandez. Then Sunday on MSG, the series finale. And then the Yankees return home and take on the Mets. What an exciting series that should be. Monday on MSG at 7 o'clock, and then 7:30 on Tuesday, 1 o'clock on Wednesday, right here on WB11.
All right, top of the 7th inning, and Luis Sojo leads it off for the Yankees as Leiter finds the strike zone on the first pitch. Sojo 0 for 2. 109 pitches down for Leiter. Surprisingly, he's thrown 58 strikes, and check that, 58, that'd be 59 and 51. 58 strikes and 51 balls now.
Yeah, this is when he's got to be most vulnerable, but I think Jim Leland realizes it's the bottom of the Yankee order. You see how those breaking balls now are hanging up in the strike zone. There's not the bite to them that there was the first few innings.
And the Toyota box score here in the top of the 7th inning. Curtis for that double, opposite field double. He's got the base hit, and Bernie knocked him in. That's where we're at right now. Yankees lead it 1-0. And Leiter is up high, and it's ball 3. So you talked about the bottom of the order. Behind Sojo will be Girardi and then David Cohn. And Leland constantly looking at that scorecard. High into left field. Eisenreich puts it away, and there's one gone here in the 7th.
And just in case he falters, there's Jay Powell. Now there's a pitcher, #1 draft pick of the Baltimore Orioles a few years ago, and yet they traded him off immediately for Brett Barbary. Orioles thought Barbary was going to be their second baseman, and he's been an excellent setup man for Jim Leland, setting up Rob Nen.
Joe Girardi will step in with one gone here in the 7th. He's 0 for 2. He is fly down and grounded out. And Leiter outside and high with that fastball. It looks like the the pitches that he throws for strikes more often than not is that hard slider and the cut fastball inside. Looks like he kind of tries to waste his regular fastball. That's foul back and off to the right side.
I think that's why left-hand hitters are hitting over 300 against him. You know, as a left-hand hitter, you'd rather have somebody have that ball, you know, out there instead of running in on your fists.
And we mentioned Leiter's averages against him. Right-handers coming into this game batting .251, but lefties batting .321. And a little soft liner to Abbott. And quickly, there are 2 out here in the 7th inning. David Cone will get a chance to bat for the 3rd time. Well, these pitchers, as Girardi goes back to the dugout, these pitchers may start to like this hitting.
Yeah, I don't know.
In the American League.
I don't know.
Huh? What do you think?
Not so far. I'll tell you what, what's amazing is that so many pitchers, when they came up as kids, were probably the best hitter in Sandlot, Little League, or whatever, the best athlete. And then, you know, then you get into professional ball and a number of things happen. You don't take as much batting practice. If you're in a blowout game, you don't concentrate on it. If you're ahead 4 or 5 runs, you're up there saying, hey, you know, let me make an out and go back to pitching. So there isn't the same intensity for it.
Outside corner, strike 3, says Frank Foley behind home plate. So a quick inning for Leiter. Here in the top of the 7th, and David Cone is on track, though. We go to the bottom of the 7th inning. Cody has the lead, 1-0. Yankees 1, the Marlins nothing. Jim Eisenreich leads it off here in the bottom of the 7th inning, and Cone finds the inside corner for a called strike. Eisenreich 0 for 2, has flied out both times. Signed as a free agent after playing for Philadelphia last year. Easy play for Cecil at first. 2 pitches and 1 out here in the bottom of the 7th.
That's the one thing I was concerned about with David Cone in this intense heat, the humidity, because he does throw so many pitches, but he's gone back a little bit to that hesitation, you know, where he gets up, stops, and there you have it, a 2-pitch out. And he's really been able to keep his pitch count down, and as a result, right now in the 7th inning, he's got plenty of gas.
And he not only hesitated on that delivery, but he also took something off of that pitch. That's what caused Eisenreich to be out in front. So Gary Sheffield, who has had his problems against Cone, he has struck out. He's only 2 times up. And the Yankees lead at 1-0 in a pitcher's duel here in Miami. Foul back and out of play. Toyota box score for the Marlins, and not a whole lot going on for them so far. Lots of big zeros.
It's about a
Cone and the Yankees like that dearly.
About a 98-foot single that Moises Alou got, that infield hopper that David Cone's probably saying, I could have had that ball.
It'll look like a line drive at the paper tomorrow. And they go around, they'll ask.
You know what I think? Yeah, he did. Greg Bonet said he went. You know what I think is surprising, Gary Sheffield, Bobby? You mentioned it earlier in the game where he is so accustomed to being pitched around, and all of a sudden he's saying, hey, they're throwing me, they're challenging me, and he doesn't appear to be ready for it.
0-2 count to Sheffield. Behind home plate, and Girardi will run out of room. Well, there's so many different looks that Cone will give you, and like Sheffield, most of the time, we were talking about it earlier, when he walks to home plate, he doesn't really have that in his mind that they're going to get him anything good to hit in the first place. And Cone has really worked him over here the first 2 times up. Certainly the pitch count is in his favor now. And the show me high fastball outside.
And that's been what David Cone has done so well his last few starts, is that being a purpose pitch to set up the next one. He's been able to really throw the ball where he wants to now.
a breaking ball, but it was down low and outside. And that leaves the count up at 2-2. And a new look, new arm angle. 3 balls, 2 strikes down to Sheffield, 1 gone.
Well, you see him drop down, and he didn't get under that one quite enough. David Cone didn't, so he left it below the knees.
And he tries the off-speed pitch and misses inside. So after being out in front 0-2 on Sheffield, he walks him.
Now that's the respect, Bobby. Even though he got ahead 0-2, he wanted to make his pitch in a 1-run ball game. And Sheffield was patient enough to draw his 55th walk. He's second to Barry Bonds in walks, and he's second in the league in on-base percentage. Disappointment by David Cone.
After those 42 home runs in 1996 and those 120 RBIs, that'll give you a little bit of respect. And Moises Alou will step in. Alou with that infield single, the only hit so far for the Marlins. And Cone finds the outside corner for a called strike. Alou, as we look at Sheffield on at first base, he reminds me a little bit, well, he reminds me a lot of his dad, Felipe Alou, is the manager of the Montreal Expos. And the reason I say that is that this young man can get on top of a high fastball. And his dad was probably one of the best. I mean, I don't care how hard you threw it or how high it was, he could get on top of it.
I'll tell you, there are some guys from a pitcher's standpoint where you worry about line drives through the box, and Felipe Alou is one of those hitters because of just what you said, getting on top of that pitch and driving it through the box.
Had to be a tough decision for Moises to sign the free agency contract and leave Montreal and his dad. And it's, you know, he had some good years for his dad. He knows that that ball club has a different outlook on what they want to do with their franchise, and sometimes you just got to leave the nest and move on. Had to be great playing for your dad, though, I would think.
I think Felipe Alou did, you know, a perfect job. He seems to have that ability to separate Moises Alou as his son and Moises Alou as a ball player for the Montreal Expos. And I think he realized that, you know, in Montreal he wasn't going to get paid the way he is down here. I mean, he signed through the year 2001 for some big dollars. See Sheffield being checked at first. He has stolen 5 but been caught 4. So the Marlins will run, but they're down near the bottom in terms of stealing percentage. They get thrown out a lot.
0-2 count to Alou. High fly ball, right side. And Soho giving a look to see how much room he had. And there is quite a bit of room here at Pro Players Stadium. In foul territory, there's 2 away. So Alou a little bit late on that fastball.
Yeah, that had some hang time, and that had a little juice on it up in the strike zone.
All that talk about us getting on top of that high fastball.
Well, that's not your average fastball. You see Soho saying, I got it. And he does.
And Bobby Boa will step in. Bonilla, a .244 lifetime hitter against Cone. 2 gone. Sheffield on at first. Yankees lead at 1-0. And he is a dead red hitter. There's no doubt about that. A free swinger, Bobby Bonilla is. But he loves the fastball. Now it's 2-0.
I think David Cone is going to pitch Bobby Bonilla as if first base were open. You mentioned he loves the fastball. He has faced Cone over 40 times in his career, so he knows him. And Jeff Conine on deck has really struggled.
Off-speed pitch pulled foul. Well, you take a look at Bonilla. He's batting .335 coming into this game. Conine on deck, a right-handed hitter. 4 home runs, 40 RBIs. Bobby Bonilla was in and out with his manager last year, Davey Johnson. They didn't get along that well. They didn't see eye to eye, and it was rightfully known by everybody. And he was going for the downs on that one. Lifts it high into shallow center and right field. Here comes Whitten, and he makes the play. Boy, it took a long time for that play to come together, but it finally did, and Whitten puts it in his glove, and he'll carry it all the way into the Yankee dugout. So he'll get out of the way. Yankees retain the lead, 1-0. New York 1, Florida 0 here in the top of the 8th inning. Beautiful night for baseball here in the South Bronx. Better known as the South Bronx. This is Miami, Florida. And we've got a new pitcher on the mound, Jay Powell.
You see his numbers this year, Bobby. Here's an outstanding college pitcher out of Mississippi State. Great baseball program. I mentioned the Orioles drafted him #1, and it's like they just gave, or they thought that Brett Barbery was going to be a terrific second baseman for him. To give up their #1 draft pick, which they did, and you see now why Jim Leyland let Al Leiter pitch the 7th inning to get through the bottom part of the Yankee batting order, because he feels very confident with Powell and Nen at the end of the game. Good hard sinker and slider. And the Marlins are one of only 2 teams in the major leagues whose bullpen has an earned run average under 3. The other is the Baltimore Orioles. And a lot of that is Powell and Nen.
Well, the Yankees will try to pad that 1-0 lead here in the 8th inning. And it looks like changes are on the way for the Yankees. Jeter will lead it off against Powell here in the 8th. And Jeter 0 for 2. He's been to the plate 3 times. He was hit by a lighter fastball back in the 1st inning. And has struck out the 2 previous times. And Powell quickly in there with a called strike.
Let me just correct that bullpen note. The second in the league. The Dodgers also have an outstanding bullpen. Their earned run average under 3. I would think, and you remember playing for Billy Martin, and I, played for him in Minnesota as well as New York, and with a new pitcher like this in a close game, you wonder sometimes why a hitter like Derek wouldn't try to push a bunt down the right side. Billy always liked to see hitters try that.
This time it's a ground ball left side, and Abbott scoops it up and throws out Jeter. 1 gone. I think Derek Jeter, obviously still learning how to hit and still learning about certain situations and how to take advantage of those. So Chad Curtis was a scheduled batter, but it looks like Paul O'Neill now will hit for Curtis. And Curtis, as you might remember back in the 6th inning against Leiter, goes the opposite way inside the bag at first. Sheffield quickly over, but it's a double for Curtis with 1 out in the 6th. And consequently, Bernie Williams drove him home with a single. And that put the Yankees on top 1-0. That's where we're at right now. So O'Neill, who has been sitting on the bench for 7 innings, gets a chance against Powell.
And Paul's not used to that. And even though you see him loosening up, even though you see the season numbers at .316, as an everyday player, you could identify with that. It's still tough to pinch hit.
You have to have a different frame of mind. You have to be ready, but more importantly, I think you have to know more about the pitcher in the situation when you come up to pinch hit.
Yeah, it's like a starting pitcher and a reliever. You've got to come in, and it happens instantly right there. You don't get 3 or 4 cracks at it. You see, Curtis had that big double to score the only Yankee run.
1 ball, 1 strike count on O'Neill. Tell you what, when you take a look at the Yankee bench and the bench that Joe Torre has tonight for this game,
oh man,
pretty impressive, isn't
I'll say. Yeah, you got some heavyweights over there. You start with O'Neill. You've got Boggs if you need a base hit or a walk. You got Tino Martinez. One and 2 on O'Neill.
course, patience is a virtue. That's what I heard.
Yeah. Possess it if you can.
Yeah.
Seldom found in women, but never in a man.
Interleague play scores on the Nobody Beats the Wiz scoreboard. 3-2. Boston over Mets. And the Brew Crew beat up on the Cubbies. 3-2 now on O'Neill. And the White Sox with a 1-0 lead in Cincinnati. Talking about Moises Alou, well, his dad has the lead in Montreal.
Jay Powell's getting a look at what Paul O'Neill does to American League pitchers. In the National League, they chase those pitches. Paul won't do it. Did there.
He chased one on the outside corner, but it looked like it was one of those that was borderline. And I'll tell you what, with Pulley behind the plate, it's more than borderline.
He's got a great punch-out signal. Yeah, this had some nice movement on it.
I don't know about you, Jimmy, but when I first went over the National League, the thing that I noticed most from the hitter standpoint was more strikes that were called on the inside corner, more so than they did in the American League.
Yeah.
I mean, anytime that ball was close inside, they were calling it. Ernie Williams with the RBI single takes a call strike from Powell here in the 8th inning.
Yeah, that's the reputation the National League has had for as long as I've been around the game professionally, which is almost 40 years. It's aggressive, it's throw strike, swing early in the count, make you put the ball in play, and the umpires take the same approach. The American League has always been, well, hey, they lay back, they take a lot of pitches, they throw a lot of breaking balls, they wait for the home run. It's a slower pace of play. It's been true for a long time.
O'Neill striking out for the second out here in the 8th. And Bernie, for the first time, gets to turn around and bat left-handed. Bernie in the first inning flied out to right field, then he walked back in the 4th. And then the 6th inning, an RBI single that drove in Curtis from second. Yankees 1, Marlins nothing. 2 outs here in the 8th. There's that pitch that O'Neill chased. Good pitch on the outside corner. Now it's 2-2.
And there's watch the enthusiastic call. There's a little enthusiasm. Yeah, Frank Pulley. I mean, that's a real punch strike.
And I noticed in the championship series, Atlanta and the Yankees, there was some strikes that were called in those series.
Well, see, about middle of the game, they take an iron out, and they iron the plate, and it goes from 17 inches to 20. It gets a little wider.
It looked like it appeared to be a little bit wide. Well, we talked about that RBI single in the 6th inning. The difference in this game, a high fastball. It falls in front of Alou, and Curtis comes on to score the only run of this game. Mark that down as the first interleague score by the New York Yankees in baseball history.
You know, I heard something very subtle on that replay, and it goes on. Teams are always trying to pick up pitch. You hear the word swing just before that pitch came. Somebody hollered swing. I wonder if the Yankees have lighters pitches knew that was a fastball. I don't know, but those are the kind of things that happen.
Well, a Powell fastball finds the inside corner, and Bernie strikes out. So Jay Powell comes in here in the 8th inning and strikes out 2 of 3 Yankees. We go to the bottom of the 8th. Yankees 1, Marlins nothing. Bottom of the 8th inning, Yankees lead it 1-0 over the Marlins. We're moving right along here in interleague play. One of the reasons for that, I think, is the guy behind the plate.
Well, that's 10 Yankee hitters that have struck out and 8 Marlin hitters. Not to discredit the pitching. There's been some good pitching.
I can tell you what, I'm a little bit worried about Pulley pulling the muscle.
Yeah.
Conine leads it off for the Marlins. Bottom 3 coming up. Probably just be 2 of 3 with Powell, the scheduled 3rd hitter. And Paul O'Neill will move to right field, and Whitten goes to left.
Here's a guy off to a slow start. He was the Marlins' first All-Star. Picked him up in the expansion draft off the Kansas City roster, Jeff Conine. surprised to see him, despite the low average, get the green light on 3-0. You know, Charles Johnson's on deck in the pitcher's spot. I think Leland would turn him loose if he sees one he likes.
He's got power, even though the average is down. And he was taking all the way. At least that was a good pitch to swing at. It didn't appear to be, but knocked one out of here. Conine with 7 home runs. Certainly feels a lot more comfortable being moved from the outfield to first base. It's underneath this one. High in the air, center field. One gone. So Conine had the pitch count in his favor, and he just got underneath it.
And you can see the frustration. You see him throw the bat away. That's, in Jeff Conine's mind, a hittable pitch. 3-1 fastball right out there.
Well, you got to be looking for that pitch, 3-1. You don't look for anything else until you get 3-2, I wouldn't think. Charles Johnson now. Strike one to Johnson, who's 0 for 2 with a strikeout. Marlins with only 1 hit in the game as the Yankees lead it 1-0.
Thunder coming off the bench here, Bobby. That's Cliff Floyd. Now, American League fans are not familiar with him. When he was with the Expos, they projected him to be Willie McCovey with speed. And then he had that tragic wrist injury that has set his career back. Got traded to the Marlins this year.
Foul back and out of play.
That's quite a compliment. I mean, this guy was
so.
the minor league player of the year a few years ago, and they just thought he was going to be something special. But that wrist injury has hampered his swing, but still has some home run potential.
And Cone in front of Johnson, 1-2. Now he tries that fastball. He got Johnson back in the 3rd inning to swing at that high fastball to strike him out. The glove of Girardi. We talked about it earlier as we take a look at the bullpen now. Rob Nin.
And Jim Leland's going to bring his closer in the 9th inning. Treat it like a save situation. You're at home. He pitches 1 shutout inning and give your team a chance to win.
Another pitch up high. 3-2 now. Well, Cone, through the first 5 or 6 innings, through the first 6 innings, he was on track with a lot of strikes and not wasting too many pitches. And he goes upstairs, and Johnson could not lay off of that one, so he has struck Johnson out twice. Number 9 now for Cone.
You mentioned the pitches, Bobby, and one of the reasons for that, you see that in a perfect spot. Again, he gets the high fastball by Charles. As David Cone smells the finish line, and he senses in a 1-run game he has got to make perfect pitches. So he is not quite as aggressive in just saying, here it is, hit me. I mean, if he keeps this pace up.
And this is the only hit of the game, and that's Moises Alou with a little grounder.
Yeah.
And Derek had no play, and that came back in the 5th inning. And beyond that, really nobody has hit the ball that hard off the cone. He's got 9 strikeouts. He has been in total control.
You see Charlie Hayes quick run over to the mound because Charlie knows a little bit about Floyd from the National League, just to give Cone and Girardi an idea. Of course, Joe knows him too.
Floyd, a .246 hitter, 2 home runs and 5 RBIs. Once you hurt your wrist or you hurt a finger, that almost hit him.
Well, you know what that visit from Charlie Hayes had to be? You mentioned that wrist. They had to say he likes to get his arms extended and hit the ball the other way because they're coming right inside on him. And that one missed well off the plate.
It's 2-0. The point I was going to make, whenever you hurt your hand, as Charlie Hayes obviously giving a little bit of instruction and how to pitch Floyd, it's hard to especially if it's a major injury like the one you were talking about, it is so hard to bounce back to where you were because you use your hands. I mean, you have to use your hands, your feel. They have to have the flexibility without pain in order to be able to hit properly. Speed pitch misses low and outside, and Cone has fallen behind Floyd now, 3-1. 2 outs here in the 8th inning. And Cone misses inside, and Floyd draws a walk.
Yeah, and that's a disappointing walk. I mean, David Cone knows that Floyd could take him out of the ballpark, but what that 2-out walk does right now is it guarantees that Gary Sheffield is going to get another at bat. And Mel Stottlemyre is going to go to the phone.
But I agree with you. He knew after he fell behind on Floyd, he still had to make a quality pitch to him because of Castillo coming up. No power, no home runs, hits it hard, and Cone gets out of it. That's what makes David Cone a great pitcher. He's able to analyze the situation and get out of jams. We go to the top of the 9th inning. Yankees lead it 1-0. Gorgeous night for baseball. It's warm here in southern Florida. The Yankees lead it 1-0, and David Cone has been superb. Top of the 9th inning. As the Yankees come up, we've got a new pitcher, Rob Nen.
Rob Nen, the Marlins acquired him from the Texas Rangers. He's the son of a former big leaguer. Dick Nen was a first baseman with the Dodgers. He throws hard. He's got a good slider. Surprisingly for a closer, look at the hits per inning. He has given up a lot of hits, but he's also struck out a lot of people.
Trying heat inside on Fielder. Tie those hands up.
Only 1 home run, so I gather that a lot of those hits are on the sinker slider are probably ground balls through the infield.
And now he's fallen behind 3-0 to Cecil. Leading off here in the 9th inning. Behind Fielder will be Hayes and then Whitten. Now it's 3-1. Well, the Yankees with that 1 hit on 4 base hits. And Cecil Fielder has walked 3 times, so he's been on base all 3 times. That was against Leiter. And make it 4 walks in a row. So you talk about respect. Now Cecil Fielder has respect in the National League, especially here.
Well, now Joe Torre, and I would expect he'd do this. He'd like to pick up an extra run, and he still has Tino Martinez on the bench. So he'll go to his bench and use Pat Kelly to pinch run, which would lead you to believe we're going to see Charlie Hayes either in a sacrifice bunt situation or a hit and run or something to try to advance Kelly to second base.
Well, Charlie Hayes giving a long look to Willie Randolph at third. So Kelly now in the pinch run for Cecil Fielder. Nobody out here in the 9th inning.
Charlie's not sure. He's saying, wait a minute, are you sure you're asking me to bunt? You know, there's a couple things Joe Torre could do here as Willie Randolph talks to Charlie Hayes. Pat Kelly could steal, but as you mentioned, pinch hitting, it's tough to sit on the bench for a couple of hours and you haven't played much and then go out and get a good jump and steal a base. But ideally, against a pitcher like Nen, you can get a good jump, but also we've seen what Charles Johnson's done all night.
Well, just about everybody in the ballpark would presume that Charlie Hayes is going to sacrifice, or maybe, and he's not, of course. He's going to swing and miss. Well, maybe a little tactical decision made by the Yankees.
Maybe they tried to get the Marlins thinking that he was going to bunt, and they gave him 1 swing. Now sometimes managers will turn around and put the bunt on in the second pitch.
A lot of cameras flashing now here at this ballpark. Either that or it's lightning.
Yeah, I don't think those are cameras, Bobby. I don't think they don't make any flash bulbs quite that bright.
I say that for wishful thinking.
I know what you mean. You were hoping they were.
Kelly with a pretty good lead at first. Big jump by Kelly and no throw by Johnson. No way. I don't care what kind of gun Johnson has. He couldn't have thrown Kelly out if he had wanted to. He just held to it.
Well,
what a great job.
Yeah, the Yankees have done their homework. And their scouts have said, hey, Rob Nen takes a long time to get the watch. As soon as his foot goes up, Kelly is on the run. And you mentioned it, Johnson had no chance to even throw that.
Charlie will try to move him to third. And it's going to be a foul ball at home plate. It's 0-2 the count with Kelly at second. Yankees lead at 1-0. Trying for more here in the ninth.
Yeah, Charlie Hayes is into his emergency position right now. He knows with 2 strikes, if he just makes contact and dribbles it somewhere on the infield, Pat Kelly can get to third base.
Well, with Nen now pitching out the stretch, that may take a little bit away from that high 90s fastball. Left side, Abbott's only play is at first base because Bonilla had moved off of the bag. And I mean, it was close at first. Good play by Abbott. It looked for a moment like he was going to go to third, but Bonilla was over there. Nobody was covering third, so Kelly picked it up.
Now, I tell you, give a lot of credit to Pat Kelly. This is a dribbler. Normally, as a base runner, you don't go on that play. You saw Bonilla break toward the ball, and that left third base unoccupied. Had Bonilla held his ground, they may have had a play on Kelly. But Pat forced the action, even with the ball in front of him. Watch his reaction. He reads the ball, gets going. No hesitation. Had Bonilla been on third, might have been different.
And Whitten will try to knock Kelly in for third. That's down low and inside. And Mark Whitten is happy that he can turn around and bat from the left side because he's had a bad night from the right side. He has struck out all 3 times that he's come to the plate. Grounder right side, and it's going to be fair. Konine's going to come home, and Johnson will put the tag on Kelly. I'm not sure whether Kelly hesitated or not at third, but Bonet, the first base umpire, quickly put the fair sign in, and Conine made a nice play.
Well, I don't know if Kelly hesitated, but Jeff Conine sure didn't. We have seen some terrific plays tonight. Here's a guy who was a national racquetball champion, Jeff Conine. That'll give you a little idea of his agility. And this ball very close to being fouled, but he never hesitates and throws a seed to Charles Johnson. They got Kelly by plenty.
And because it looked like Conine being able to turn around, didn't look like Kelly hesitated.
No.
Just a good play by Conine. Now Whitten takes off. The throw is not in time. So the Yankees taking complete advantage of Rob Nen, not even paying any attention to the base runner. And the Yankees have another runner in scoring position. The point I was going to make, when Conine had to turn around, he saw the umpire do the fair sign, which gave him a little bit of an easier thought process in going home. And Soho, who is 0 for 2. Check that. Soho's 0 for 3 tonight. He flied out to left field in the 7th inning. So Whitten down at second. There's 2 away now. And the breaking ball low and outside, and it's 2-1. The Yankees lead at 1-0. 9th inning, and we've seen some terrific baseball here in Florida so far. And Nen with that 90-plus fastball just blows it by Soho.
Looking ahead to the 9th, Bobby, in this one-run game, it'll be the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th hitter. You see Soho pull off the fastball, so Gary Sheffield will get an at-bat in the bottom of the 9th.
You mentioned that earlier, and that's something the Yankees wouldn't like to have to deal with. Nen has that little hesitation as he delivers the ball home, and that can kind of throw your timing off, too.
I think that's why the Yankees are able to steal on him easily, but he wanted that pitch, but it was a little low.
Schultz went to third, and the pitch is fouled back and out of play. He says, look, you know, I'm out here too, even though I've struck out 3 times. I'm playing baseball against the Marlins.
Well, there's nothing wrong with stealing third base with 2 out if you make it standing up. You got to make it standing up, and Mark Whitten certainly could have there. They could steal at will off rotten men.
You better make it. Don't end the inning getting caught trying to go to third. And here he goes again, not paying any attention, and it's just a repeat of the last pitch. Foul back and out of play.
Well, you don't blame the Marlins infielders right now. I mean, they'll let Whitten steal because Bonilla is going to hold his ground, and Abbott at short and Castillo are going to give him plenty of room because they just want a ground ball and get the third out. They don't care about Whitten's stolen base.
And Bonilla way off the bag at third. And then finally gives a gesture that he knows that there's a base runner on, besides pitching from the stretch. Top of the 9th inning, 2 away for the Yankees. They lead it 1-0. High fly ball, shallow right field. And Sheffield puts it away, so the Yankees miss an opportunity here in the 9th inning. David Cone will pitch to the Marlins here at the bottom of the 9th. That could have been a run for the Yankees. Stay with us. Well, a capacity crowd on hand. Let's take a look at our game summary brought to you by Tri-State Jeep and Eagle Dealer. And not a whole lot. And what it is, it's from the Yankees, and they lead it 1-0. And David Cone pitching here in the 9th inning. And the first hitter is Abbott, and he sends it past Martinez, the replaced fielder. And the Marlins with their first batter on, and only the second hit off of David Cone so far.
Well, you just tip your cap to Kurt Abbott on that one. If you're David Cone, you're going to challenge him, try to get ahead, and Abbott took a pretty good pitch out away from him. Actually came in a little bit more than David wanted it. You see Girardi's target, but Abbott with a good approach, he just slapped it the other way.
And he wasn't even planning on playing tonight. Especially the starter is Eisenreich, turns around and was going to bump the ball and takes it inside for a ball. So Eisenreich, who is 0 for 3. And 0 for 3 has dropped his average below 300, and the Yankees now with activity as expected. Rivera and Nelson. Donald foul to the right side. I'm so glad as Abbott comes back to first base. And we mentioned Martinez taking over here in the 9th inning when Fielder was pinch run for. But Eisenreich, when he was with the Minnesota Twins and he had that nervous condition, Tourette's syndrome, he's got it under control, and he's finally able to show what he can do.
You can see right now, David Cone and the Yankees know the toughest pitch to hit is that high fastball, and they're trying to run it up there and get Eisenreich to chase it. Now I wonder if Leland, with the count 2-1, wouldn't turn around and let Eisenreich swing the bat. You figured going to get a fastball here. That's what the Yankees want to find out. That signal from Mel Stoudemire was designed just for that. Throw to first base and see whether Eisenreich made any kind of commitment to show whether he was going to bunt.
After each pitch, Stoudemire gives his signs. And he squares the bunt again, and it's a beauty. He gets the job done. Soho has to cover. But more importantly, the tying run, and Abbott moved to second with one out here in the bottom of the 9th inning.
And you can see the perfectly executed bunt by Eisenreich, the only play David Cone has. is at first. And so what Jim Leland is saying, hey, I know you're going to probably walk Gary Sheffield. And if you do, I've got my best RBI man hitting right behind him, and he feels that's their best shot to win the ball game.
Well, this is Gary Sheffield, and he's 0 for 2 tonight with a couple of strikeouts and a walk. And the Marlins couldn't have designed it any better if they wanted the guy up that, in this type of situation, it would be Sheffield. But the tying run down at second. Of course, Sheffield with good power. And Cone going on the outside corner and just missing.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to see them give Sheffield anything he can pull. I mean, if he wants to chase something. But there, it looks like Girardi's going to set up low and outside. I mean, this is the one guy, the old expression, you can't let him beat you, but this is the one guy you don't want to let swing the bat and beat you.
You'll try to make quality pitches on Sheffield with first base open. And he runs the fastball on the outside corner.
You know, the
count up at 1-1.
The reverse of that, Bobby, is you can't let this guy beat you, but you also have to say, hey, here's David Cone. He's a Cy Young Award winner. He's got the stuff to get Sheffield out if he makes those pitches, obviously.
And he's got in front. He's in front now, 1-2 on Sheffield. That's a good point that you bring up, because Joe Torre normally, if Cone didn't have the reputation, knowing what he can do, he would have already gone to the bullpen.
Sure, if it's anybody else, but see, that pitch is right on the corner. Now they got 2 to play with. You see Girardi hold it right there for Frank Pulley, and they got 2 pitches to try to make Sheffield chase something.
And they got him to chase a bad ball outside, and he stays alive by pulling it foul.
Right now, it's been a frustrating at-bat for Sheffield. 2 borderline pitches were called strikes, and so Girardi and Cone can take advantage of that. They can get him to chase something just off the plate.
Well, they've had Sheffield in that situation all night long. Off balance. And he took something off of that one. Swings and misses. Sheffield didn't pick up where Girardi had lost it. And so he didn't know that Girardi missed the ball. And he started walking towards the dugout like he had struck out for the 3rd time. And if he'd have run, he may have made first base.
Well, mentioned it was a frustrating at-bat. See, this pitch didn't do what David Cone wanted to it. See it back up? Girardi either got crossed up, he wasn't looking for it, and Sheffield all of a sudden said, oh, it got away. But Girardi, with his quickness, got to the ball. Watch where Girardi's looking. See, he's looking for a slider. I think David Cone crossed him up. But he recovered and made a strong throw to Tino Martinez, and of course Abbott couldn't go anywhere.
And it couldn't have worked out any better for the Yankees. 2 gone, and Alou the batter. And Alou sends one foul off to the right side.
Yeah, what a break that was for the man on second, and most of the fans that watch the game know that you change your sign sequence, and either Girardi or Cone had the wrong sign, because Girardi looking for a breaking ball, and that pitch broke back in.
Yeah, 9 times out of 10, the guy that struck out will end up at first base. The guy at second will be over at third. But there's 2 away. They have no 1 count coming to Alou. Base hit into center field. Abbott will round third and come on to score, and it's tied. So with 2 outs here in the 9th, Alou ties it with an RBI single. Number 55 for him. He's got 2 hits off of Cone tonight. Cone had worked his magic on Sheffield, but Alou comes through.
Yeah, that one again. Girardi looking for the ball outside, and that ball came back across the plate. And you know right now that Moises Alou has one thing in mind. You see David Cone's reaction, just 1 out, 1 pitch from a brilliant shutout. And now Alou's going to try to steal second base.
And Bobby Bonilla in front and lifts it high on the infield. Soho will wait for it. And he puts it away, but the Marlins do what they wanted to do here in the 9th inning off of David Cone with 2 outs. A big base hit by Moises Alou. And we'll go to the top of the 10th, all tied.
WB11, home of Michigan J. Frog.
Yeah.
Yankees won and the Marlins won as Cone paces in the Yankee dugout. He was so close.
Well, this is how close he was. See, that pitch, again, it got away from him. Girardi wanted it outside, and Alou in that situation where a base hit. And you can see David Cone's reaction immediately. 106 pitches, and all he'd like to have is one back.
So we go to the top of the 10th inning. And Girardi leads it off against the new pitcher for the Marlins, Rob Stanifer. Takes over here in the 10th. And as you can see, it has begun to rain.
Yeah, we were getting a real treat in that 9th inning because we had an exciting baseball game and a real live fireworks show with all the lightning around Pro Player Stadium.
Well, rain is nothing new here in southern Florida, especially this time of year.
See, Stanifer's only pitched in 16 innings. He was actually called up when Leiter went on the disabled list early in May. The Marlins drafted him 3 years ago.
And it's 2 balls, 2 strikes to Girardi.
He's a pure rookie, had never spent any time in the major leagues before now. And the rain is picking up.
Foul back, then a play. Behind Girardi will be David Cone, but I'm sure he'll be pinch hit for here in the 10th inning. And then the Yankees will go back up top to Jeter.
That expression
is you better stay away.
Yeah, that says it all.
Swing and a miss, strike 3. So Girardi is gone.
So Stanifer comes in, makes some nice pitches, gets ahead of Girardi with a good slider low and away for a strikeout. That's now 11 strikeouts. Boy, and this would be, I mean, there are losses and there are losses, but this would be so much more frustrating than just the ordinary one because of the brilliant performance by that man.
So the new pinch hitter for Cone will be Wade Boggs. And so Boggs has been sitting on the Yankee bench for 9 innings. And he will get a chance here in the 10th. The Yankees and Marlins all tied up now in the 10th inning.
Now Wade comes back to his home state. In fact, on Sunday, Father's Day, he will also celebrate his 39th birthday.
A little late swinging, a little off the fly ball into left field. And Eisenreich puts it away. The 2 Yankees are down here in the 10th. Boggs with brand new contact lenses says he can see the ball a lot better. About 25% better, as a matter of fact. Well, this is when it, in the National League play, I think this is when it really gets interesting for a manager because you've got to really pay attention to all the players that you have used and the players that you have on the bench. And Jeter will hit with 2 gone.
Both Nelson and Rivera were up in the 9th inning. Nelson, if it's a tie game, and that's what it is, so he'll be coming in to pitch the 10th.
And the bottom of the order for the Marlins scheduled up in the bottom of the 10th inning.
And of course, that's where you carry one less pitcher in the National League, few more bench players. So Jim Leyland has a few veterans to go to over there. He still has John Cangelosi, pesky little singles hitter. Greg Zahn, American League fans might remember him. He's a backup catcher for the Orioles that they acquired.
And it's a 1-ball, 2-strike count to Jeter. Well, this is Friday the 13th. You know.
That's right. I forgot about that.
Leyland will pay no attention to that. He's got new life, obviously. Looked pretty dim for the Marlins in the 9th inning, but they come through.
Yeah, it's amazing. We come to a National League park for the first time, the first interleague game, and you get a National League game. You know, a low-scoring pitchers duel where some of the little things like, you know, the Yankees could look back and say they could have moved a runner up here and there. You know, they squandered one opportunity in the top of the 9th on Conine's fine play.
3-2 now on Jeter. Capacity crowd on hand, 42,455. And they will get another souvenir from Jeter. The largest crowd of the year for the Marlins, and that's what the world champions will do for you, especially in history making in Southern Florida.
Yeah, they could put a lot more people in here, but owner Wayne Huizinga has made a decision to block off all those outfield seats.
Ball 4, so Jeter draws a 2-out walk here in the 10th. And that will give Paul O'Neill a chance to hit, maybe. I read someplace Jim Leyland now this may be a double switch.
That's what you have to do in the National League. He's going to bring in, it looks like, young Felix Heredia, the left-hander, is 20 years old down there, heating up to come in and face Paul O'Neill. And then, since his pitcher is due up third, he is going to take Moises Alou out of the ball game and put John Cangelosi out in center field. Cangelosi will hit 9th. There again is one of those double switch National League moves that we don't get a chance to see following the American League all the time. So there's the guy with the game-tying RBI is going to come out of the ball game.
Well, he did his job. And now we'll be up to some more, and we'll be back right after this. 10th inning, Yankees, Marlins all tied up at 1, 2 gone. And a double switch here in the National League Park has brought in a new pitcher, Felix Heredia. And he will face Paul O'Neill.
He's just 20 years old. You see not a hard thrower, but excellent control, only 6 walks.
Left-handed batted only 154 against Heredia in 1996. Also, we mentioned that Paul O'Neill will bat for the 2nd time. He came in the 8th inning. And Heredia. Well, there was a strike on the outside corner. Cangelosi now in center field. So Alou is gone. And the rain is falling. It's been falling for about half an inning, but it's coming down a little bit harder now. Fly ball left field. Eisenreich puts it away, so the Yankees leave a man on here in the 10th. And we've got us a ball game as the Marlins come to bat here in the bottom of the 10th, led off by Conine. Bottom of the 10th inning, and it's raining here at Pro Player Stadium. And we're all tied at 1. I can't imagine what's going to happen, Jim. It took so long just to score 2 runs in this game. What's going to happen here next
score that third one? And I'm sure right now, you know, Frank Pulley is looking at the weather. I mean, it's not one of these South Florida gully washes where it's just coming down in sheets. It's a soft, semi-light rain right now, and Pulley would like to give the fans and the players a chance to go ahead and see if they can finish it, but he's not going to wait. It's picking up in its intensity, and we're going to have a delay, which makes it even that much more frustrating for the Yankees, knowing that they were 1 pitch from a 1-0 win.
Well, first interleague game for the Yankees and the Marlins. We might as well get it all and get it out of the way.
See a little of everything.
Yeah, absolutely. And And you can see frustration on the faces of the Yankees. And Pulley,
they're having
to talk to his, longtime friend, Joe Torre.
Sure, they're having a good shoot. Jose said, "What do you mean we can't play here?" They're having a good time with him. I think they all respect Frank Pulley for. Well, you see some of those polls, and he usually comes out on top as one of the most respected and best umpires in the National League. Well, they're used to doing this. We said they have not had a rainout in Miami this year. The Marlins haven't, but they've had a few of these, a few of delays, so that would give Frank Pulley a chance to hear some of Zim's baseball stories.
Well, he'll certainly get an earful if he'll sit there long enough.
Oh, yeah.
And Pulley obviously has got a few that he can tell Zimmer. And this crew here in Miami should be well versed in putting this tarpaulin on, because they do this quite often.
Wow, for Yankee fans and for David Cone, what a letdown, because here he, in 106 pitches tonight would have been a complete game win, and it all came down to this about the 103rd or 4th pitch.
In a pitch that was called for the outside corner, and that was the hit that tied the game up in the 9th inning with 2 outs. And David was unable to get it in the spot that he wanted to. And in that pitch that's inside in about the up through about the 5th inning, he still had pretty good heat on that pitch. And he may have been able to blow it by Lou. But after all those pitches that he had thrown, probably wasn't as much on that one.
Well, I wonder what the pitch to Sheffield got away. Girardi was looking for that outside, and I don't know whether it was supposed to be a breaking ball that just slipped out, because the same thing happened on the Alou pitch. They were both not thrown where they were designed to be, which obviously that can happen anytime. I just wondered whether they were breaking balls that slipped out or fastballs that came back in, but neither one of them were in the area where David Cone wanted them. And for 106 pitches, I'd say about 101 to 102 tonight were just about right where he wanted them. Just a couple of them got away, and that's what's so frustrating for a starting pitcher. You go 8 2/3 innings, you throw everything where you want to, you make one mistake, and cost you the ball game, or at least in this case cost him a win.
Well, a rain delay now here in the 10th inning, and if you're putting your schedule together, let's tell you about tomorrow. Because here on the WB11, we're going to have David Wells, who'll be pitching for the Yankees, and he will be facing the newcomer, Alex Fernandez. And then on Sunday, it will be Dwight Gooden and Pat Rapp on our Delta Airlines schedule, just to give you a look at what's coming up for the Yankees here on the WB11 and also MSG. And then, of course, after this series, the big series starts in New York on Monday. MSG will have it at 7, and then Tuesday at 7:30 right here on the WB11. So Billy Marlin, he's got his umbrella out, but I didn't know Marlins needed an umbrella.
He came prepared, and he's going to give it away.
Nevertheless, we're at a rain delay, 1-1. Now, coming up, we're going to go back to Jack and Kitey.